Did you know that 50% of employees don't trust their leaders? That's a shocking number, but it's true. In fact, a study by Edelman found that only 44% of workers believe their CEO is honest. And this lack of trust is costing companies more than just morale. It affects performance, innovation, and employee retention. When trust is low, teams struggle to work together and leaders lose influence. So, what's the secret to fixing this? It's transparency. Leaders who are open, honest, and clear build trust faster than those who keep things hidden. But transparency isn't just about sharing everything. It's about knowing when to speak up and when to hold back. In this video, we'll explore why transparency is the key to effective leadership. You'll learn how to use vulnerability to build deeper connections, the fine line between too much and too little transparency, and how to handle tough situations with honesty. Stay tuned for real examples, surprising facts, and tips you can start using today to transform your leadership style. Ready to take the transparency test? Let's dive in. Chapter 1. The hidden power of vulnerability. Transparency starts with vulnerability. It's easy to think that leaders need to have it all together, but the truth is, great leaders are open about their weaknesses. In Dare to Lead, Brené Brown argues that vulnerability is a cornerstone of courage and trust. When leaders share their challenges, it allows teams to see the human side of them. This honesty builds a sense of connection. A study by Harvard Business Review found that 65% of employees feel more connected to their leaders when they show vulnerability. Transparency isn't about sharing everything, it's about being real. Leaders who hide behind a facade can create distrust. If you show that you're not perfect, your team will feel safer to express themselves and innovate. It's about leading by example and creating an environment where honesty is valued. Acknowledging mistakes humanizes you and makes you approachable. When people see you struggle and grow, they trust you more. It's the difference between a boss and a true leader. Vulnerability is not a weakness, it's a strength that leads to stronger relationships. And guess what? Leaders who embrace vulnerability are more likely to create empowered teams. A culture of vulnerability invites feedback and fosters a learning mindset. The more you share, the more people trust you, not just as a boss, but as a guide. Leaders who keep up the illusion of perfection are less likely to earn genuine loyalty. Transparency encourages feedback that can spark improvement and growth. Vulnerability doesn't mean oversharing, it's about authenticity. When a leader admits a mistake, they show resilience and openness to change. This is the true power of vulnerability in leadership. Chapter 2. The Transparency Paradox. More is less. You might think transparency means saying everything, but it's not that simple. Too much transparency can backfire. Think about it. If you give away all the details, it can overwhelm your team. There's a delicate balance. Transparency doesn't mean spilling everything, it's about what you choose to share. In The Speed of Trust, Stephen M. Covey points out that leaders need to manage the flow of information wisely. Leaders need to consider the context before sharing. When teams receive excessive information, they may lose focus on what really matters. It's about strategic sharing. For example, during a crisis, you might need to be candid, but too much information could cause panic. Too little transparency can breed suspicion, but too much can create chaos. A study by McKinsey found that 80% of employees prefer clear, concise information, especially in times of uncertainty. So how do you strike the right balance? It's about timing. Leaders should communicate key information at the right moment. Sharing only what's necessary helps maintain clarity and keeps the team grounded. Transparency without focus can create noise rather than clarity. The goal is not to hide information, but to give your team what they need to succeed. When leaders share with purpose, it reinforces trust. But when they overshare, they risk diluting that trust. That's why it's essential to gauge how much transparency is needed for the situation. Leaders must ensure that transparency serves the team, not overwhelms them. Chapter 3. Transparency is a trust builder, not a weakness. Transparency is often misunderstood as a form of weakness, but it's actually a powerful trust-building tool. In Leaders Eat Last, Simon Sinek argues that trust is the foundation of any high-performing team. When leaders are open and honest, it signals that they trust their team with important information. This trust creates a safe environment for innovation and risk-taking. According to a Gallup study, 70% of employees say they are more likely to stay with a company if they trust their leader. Transparency nurtures this trust by showing that a leader is committed to the team's success. When a leader shares their vision and challenges openly, they create a sense of inclusion. People are more likely to follow a leader who they believe is honest and reliable. Transparency allows for alignment. Everyone understands the goals and where they stand. In contrast, a lack of transparency breeds insecurity and confusion. If you're transparent about company goals, your team knows where to focus their energy. It's like opening a door to clearer communication and mutual understanding. Transparency helps leaders lead with authenticity. When leaders are clear about challenges, they invite problem-solving together. Leaders who are transparent also create a culture of accountability. Transparency isn't about being perfect, it's about being trustworthy. People are drawn to leaders who are real, not those who put up a facade. The more transparent you are, the more your team will feel aligned and motivated. Don't forget to subscribe for more insights on effective leadership and tips to improve your communication skills with your team. Chapter 4. The Ripple Effect. Transparency beyond the leader. Transparency isn't just about how leaders act, it impacts the entire organization. When a leader models transparency, it creates a ripple effect. Teams follow their leader's example. If transparency is encouraged from the top, it sets a standard throughout the organization. A study by the American Management Association found that 94% of employees feel more engaged in a transparent workplace. Employees are more likely to open up and share their ideas when they feel the environment is transparent. When communication flows freely, it promotes collaboration. Transparency breaks down barriers between departments and teams. This openness helps to prevent silos and encourages cross-functional teamwork. When everyone is on the same page, there's a greater sense of unity and purpose. A transparent environment supports continuous learning. Leaders who model transparency encourage their teams to do the same. This creates an open dialogue that fuels innovation. Transparency also allows employees to feel more ownership over their work. They can see how their contributions fit into the bigger picture. A transparent culture supports growth and development, leading to higher job satisfaction. Teams become more empowered to make decisions when they have access to the right information. In the long run, transparency boosts overall performance. It's not just about telling the truth, it's about fostering an environment where truth thrives. Chapter 5. Navigating the Gray. Ethical transparency in leadership. Being transparent isn't always clear-cut. Leaders face complex situations where full transparency may not always be ethical. It's not about withholding information for the sake of it, it's about making smart decisions. Ethical transparency means knowing what to share and when. For example, during sensitive discussions, leaders might need to hold back certain details to protect individuals. In the Leadership Challenge, Kozes and Posner note that ethical leaders balance honesty with discretion. A leader might need to protect confidential information while still being truthful. In times of crisis, too much transparency can lead to panic, while too little can breed distrust. Leaders must understand the nuances of ethical transparency. Sometimes, withholding information is the right choice. This is a fine line that requires careful judgment. Ethical leaders share the right amount of information to foster trust while protecting sensitive data. For example, if an organization is facing financial struggles, leaders may withhold certain details until they have a clear strategy to share. But they must be upfront about the challenges without sugarcoating the reality. It's about finding the balance between honesty and protecting the integrity of the organization. A study by the Center for Creative Leadership found that ethical leadership leads to greater employee loyalty. Transparency doesn't mean revealing everything, it means sharing with integrity. Ethical transparency builds long-term trust by demonstrating responsibility and consideration. Chapter 6. The Transparency Test. Leading with authenticity under pressure. Leaders are often put to the test in high-pressure situations. How they handle transparency in these moments reveals their true leadership abilities. When facing challenges, transparent leaders can maintain team morale and trust. In The 5 Dysfunctions of a Team, Patrick Lencioni argues that trust is the key to overcoming obstacles. During a crisis, transparency becomes even more critical. Leaders must communicate clearly, acknowledge uncertainty, and set realistic expectations. In a survey by Edelman, 76% of employees said they expect their leaders to be honest, even in difficult times. When transparency is tested, it shows who the real leaders are. Authenticity during a crisis builds resilience. For example, during the early days of the COVID-19 pandemic, leaders who were transparent about their struggles gained employee trust. On the other hand, leaders who withheld information or downplayed the situation lost credibility. Transparency under pressure helps leaders navigate challenges with clarity. It's about telling the truth, even when the truth is hard to hear. In times of uncertainty, transparency gives the team a sense of direction. Leaders who communicate openly during tough times inspire confidence and loyalty. Transparency is a powerful tool that can transform pressure into an opportunity for growth. It's not just about being honest, it's about staying authentic and grounded when things get tough. Make sure to subscribe for more leadership tips and stay ahead in your journey to becoming a transparent, authentic leader.